how can you say we are wise men and the Torah of Yahweh is in our custody? Undoubtedly, it has been changed to falsehood by the falsifying pens of scribes. Now, this changes the context of it. We understand the emphasis of the passage, what it is actually communicating. It directly says that the Torah of Yahweh has been changed.
Hello, and welcome back to another Missionary Skeptic video. For a Jazz's claim to hold any weight, it relies upon some pre-built assumptions. Issue number 1. Granting that the law had become unknown around Jeremiah, it fails to provide any textual evidence for the corruption of the text in the wider kingdom. Or even beyond that, Jeremiah's experience at best suggests a localized issue, and not a universal issue, as a Jazz wants to claim. Issue number 2. His argument is contingent upon translating the text in a particular way to allow for the drawing of his conclusion. The issue is, Muslims themselves admit that the book of Jeremiah has been transmitted from its authors until today, solely through Jewish chains and transmission. It therefore follows that the only authoritative and inspired exegesis of this text lies within the hands of Jewish tradition, which has been transmitted through these chains. For this reason, the Jewish text must be interpreted in light of Jewish tradition, and not through the lens of Islamic tradition and opinions pre-imposed onto a Jewish text. Should we retranslate certain verses of Quran Hadith and produce false results and absurdities in the manner which Hijaz does so with ours? Let us take this instance in the Quran, which states that God blew a ruh into man, and instead retranslate ruh as alluding to an angel instead of a human soul that was blown into man. As demonstrated, we too possess the ability to create non-existent absurdities from within his own text in the manner which he does so with ours. Let's now analyze this Jewish verse for ourselves in light of what Jewish tradition has to say. How can you say that we are wise? Jeremiah rebukes Judah by rhetorically asking them how they can claim to possess wisdom, for he knows that without following God's instruction, there is no true wisdom. As it states, Psalm 19:7, God's testimony is faithful, making the simple wise. And the law of the Lord is among us. The rhetorical statement, how can you say the law is among us, does not suggest that the law has been corrupted or lost, but rather it indicates that the people have chosen not to uphold it, and therefore the law is absent from amongst them within the land. Surely the pen has written it for nothingness. In vain are the scribes. The point is that the scribes have written the Torah in vain, for Judah refuses to adhere to it. For vanity the scribes have labored. Verse 9. The wise men are ashamed. They are dismayed and taken. Behold, they reject the word of God. And what wisdom is in them? This verse now explains why the law of the Lord is absent from within the land of Judah, because they reject the word of God. Rejection of text is not corruption of text, as Hijaz wants to claim. Imagine that a friend offers you a book, but you choose not to read it. Your rejection of this book, meaning your refusal to read it and participate in it, has not resulted in its change of content. Likewise is the case with the Torah, as established in verse 9. It is absent as a result of Judah's rejection, not corruption. Thus, we find the succeeding verses clarifying upon the meaning of rejection, and as to why the law of God is not present around Jeremiah, as it states, Therefore I will give their wives to other men, and their fields to new owners, from the least to the greatest, all are greedy for gain. Prophets and priests alike, all practice deceit. They dress the wound of my people. As though it were not serious, peace, peace, they say, when there is no peace. Are they ashamed of their detestable conduct? No, they have no shame at all. They do not even know how to blush. If Hijaz's exegesis was correct, we would expect to find all of the succeeding verses emphasizing the point of God's law being absent and rejected, as a result of the people having corrupted it. Yet we find no mention of this. Instead, Jeremiah establishes, with force and with clarity, that the law is rejected and not hearkened unto because the people would rather act wicked than follow it, with no mention of corruption. Furthermore, we find in the later chapters that Jeremiah repeatedly commands Israel to hearken unto the Torah. If he truly believed that the law in their hands had become corrupted, why then would he command Israel to follow it? As we see, instead of being a faithful human being, Ijaz would rather appeal to the tactics of Christian missionaries and ignore all of the clear verses establishing a fully preserved Torah and appeal to a singular, ambiguous and vague verse to bolt his claim from, instead of interpreting the ambiguous verse in light of all the other passages that clearly affirm an authentic Torah. If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe.